Hello, my name is Mia Hoy, and today this will be a cold reading video. I'm reading from Alan Bennett's Talking Heads again. I'll be reading A Lady of Letters, which was first played by Patricia, I'm really sorry if I mispronounce this, Patricia Routledge. This time I have had a brief read of this. The last time I read from this book, I did it just off the page like that. I didn't, I just went with my gut. But this time I have read through the piece that I'll be reading, so I know a little bit more. The description it has at the top of the page is, Miss Ruddock is an ordinary middle-aged woman. The room in which we see her in is simply furnished, and there is a bay window, and it is the afternoon. So bearing all that in mind, I will start. I can't say the service was up to scratch. Smacked off the conveyor belt. In fact, I wrote to the crematorium. I said I thought the hallmark of a ceremony of that nature was reverence, whether the word that kept coming into my mind was brisk. Moreover, I added, grief-stricken people do not expect to emerge from the chapel of rest to find full-grown men skulking in rhododendrons with tab-ends in their mouth. If the hearse drivers must smoke, then facilities must be provided. I heard good reports of this crematorium. I hope that they would agree with me that on this occasion it lay itself down. Of course, if I'd happened to be heartbroken, I would have felt much worse. I didn't let on to the crematorium because I thought it might get them off the hook. But I actually didn't know her that well. I used to see her getting on the 37, and we'd passed the time of day. She lost her mother about the time I lost mine. She had a niece in Australia, and I had a cousin in Canada. And she went in for a gas-fired central heating just a few weeks before I did. So, one way and another, we covered a lot of the same ground. I spent years thinking she was called Hammersley, which was way off the mark because her name was Pringle. There was a picture of her in the Evening Post. She'd been a big voluntary worker, with details of the funeral on the Wednesday afternoon, which is the one time I'm dangling my feet a bit. So I thought I'd get out my little maroon coat and put on an appearance. Well, at least it's an outing. And I was glad I'd gone, but as I say, the ceremony was a bit lacklustre and topped off by those young fellows smoking. So I thought the least I could do was write. Anyway, I had a charming letter back from the Director of Operations, a Mr. Widdop. He said he was most grateful I'd drawn this matter to his attention, and while he was aware the practice sometimes went on, he'd personally caught anybody smoking would jump on the culprits with both feet. I knew I would appreciate that discipline within the chapel precincts presented special problems, as it wasn't always convenient to tear about. To tear a strip off somebody when they're grief-stricken knocking about. What he personally preferred to do was keep a low profile and come down the offences of a tongue of bricks once the coast is clear. With regards to my remarks about the facilities, they had no plans to provide a smoking area in the chapel of rest for the foreseeable future, as I must understand that space was a premium and at the top of their list of priorities at the present moment. At the present moment was the provision of a temporary temple for the use of racial minorities. However, he would bear my remarks in mind, and if I were to come across any similar infringements in the future, I was not to hesitate to get in touch. I wrote him a little letter back, thanking him for his prompt and courteous reply, saying that I hoped not to be making any further visits to the crematorium in the near future, which was a joke. I took his point and also dropped a line to the relatives, care of undertaker, saying that I was an acquaintance of Miss Pringle and had been present at the ceremony and taken the liberty of entering into correspondence with the crematorium over the unfortunate lapse. I enclosed a copy of Mr. Woodup's reply, and they didn't write back, which I understand, because one thing death always entails is mass correspondence. When Mother died, I had 53 letters. Besides, they may not even have seen them smoking. They were probably blinded with grief. I see we've got a new couple moved in opposite. And don't look very promising, and the kiddie looks filthy. Now, this monologue is very out of my age range, and I actually struggled to get across that she was a middle-aged woman. I realised a lot of the time it just sounded like she was mildly complaining about the funeral home, and I know I mispronounced a lot of words in that, and I do apologise. I don't feel like that was my strongest piece. I felt like it was very, very weak. It felt like it was a lot of the time the same tone, the same pitch, and I really struggled. I struggled with reading this one because I didn't have much to work on. And even though I'd read it before and I thought, oh, okay, she's gone to an acquaintance's funeral, I don't think I could wrap my head around why you would go to an acquaintance's funeral, and just for the sake of going to a funeral. And I think I was probably thinking about that too much. I was letting myself doubt get in the way of actually developing a character. I do apologise, this isn't my best video. I will hope to actually work on this monologue in the future, knowing that this isn't my strongest one. I'll probably come back to it next week and with a few more notes and see how it goes. This isn't an audition monologue. This is just one that I've picked up and I've read at my desk and I've gone, okay, well, this is what I'm doing today. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.